Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Y'all ready for this?
All right, average Jocks fans. This week we welcome, I would say, like Canada's version of Ryan Seacrest in Cabbie Richards. Cabbie, welcome to the show.
We clap for ourselves because it's a celebration.
I like it. I like
We clap for
it.
ourselves.
Okay. I don't think I've ever had anybody clap for themselves.
No, I like that.
We'll need to get like a not like a laugh track, but like an applause track.
Yeah,
We can get that, and we can then put up, record in front of a live studio audience.
I encourage you to add like an audience applause track to that intro.
I can definitely see what I can do with my limited computer skills. I just mastered Word Perfect 2010, so I'm moving up in the world. Big stuff coming our way. PowerPoint's next.
Wait, what's Word Perfect? What's that?
You've never been on Word Perfect?
I think that's a French thing, isn't it?
No?
Isn't it a French thing?
What did you type like essays up on when you were in school?
Microsoft Word.
Is that not?
Word Perfect. I think Word Perfect's a French thing, dude.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
wait, you guys wrote in French in high school?
Yeah, we went to fully French school.
Amazing.
My first English school was college.
I mean, I went to
Oh.
college. I don't know if I learned anything. But
Yeah.
I learned how to drink.
Yes.
You knew how to do that before college.
That's important.
Yeah.
That's not even an elective. That is like one of the mandatory courses.
It is,
Yeah.
100%.
Life experience.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, wait. So, you guys spoke French growing up?
Yeah.
Still do.
Yeah.
I work
Amazing.
for a French company, so I just have to speak French every day pretty much.
Yeah, same. I'm the only one in my department that speaks French.
I wish I held on to it, bro. Right now, like, okay, this is my broken. Comment dit-on when I travel to? Comment dit-on en français?
Quand je voyage à.
Quand je voyage à Quebec City, les mots que je parle maintenant et tout le mot that I remember. Like, that's it. I remember like 10 words.
Yeah.
It's
As long as you have poutine,
Bière froid.
bière froid, you should be okay.
Yeah.
What's the second one? Bois froid?
Bière froid is cold beer.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I need to hang out with more French people, man, because it's
Hey,
it's terrible.
anytime you're coming through Cornwall,
Cornwall,
first rounds
Ontario.
are on Adam, and then
Yeah.
I'll take the third.
Yeah, Cornwall, Ontario. Yeah.
How far is that from Kingston?
An hour and a half.
Depends.
How
who's
far
driving.
are you guys from Montreal?
We're between Montreal and in Kingston.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Cornwall, Ontario. All right. I've driven through it. I've just never stopped and like enjoyed like Harvey's or whatever, some local delicious burger spot that you guys have in town.
Yeah,
Which I will
it definitely would not be our Harvey's, that's for sure. It's definitely not made our way in town. That is for sure.
Yeah, no.
Oh man.
So
Well, it's nice to make your acquaintances, fellas.
Well,
Thanks
it's
for
nice
having
to
me
meet
on
you
this
too.
on this pod. I appreciate the invitation, and I appreciate whatever conversation, wherever the hell we go in this conversation.
Yeah.
Let's
and
get
you know what?
loose.
I think this for me, like I was telling Adam, and I've told so many other guests, especially when we have sports broadcasters on. I knew from a kid I wasn't going to go anywhere in sports. So if I wanted to do anything, I had to go the media route. So having Jay on a couple weeks ago, did a couple stuff when Hockey Canada was in town with Craig Button,
Nice.
and then having Cabbie Richards on. I mean, I was a diehard Sports Center guy growing up, Jay and Dan in the morning. But as soon as their one loop through was done, switch it over to the Score, and he would catch Cabbie on the Street
or Cabbie Unlimited.
Thank you very much.
Cabbie Unlimited, and then later on when you switched over to TSN, it was Cabbie Presents, and then there was Cabbie Presents the podcast.
There was, yes, thank you.
Yeah,
man, appreciate the research. Thank you.
Well, it wasn't research.
No, it wasn't research.
That's why I watched it. I didn't have to research it.
You lived it?
I don't want to age
Get
you,
along with
but
me?
2003, I was 8. I was having Eggos in front of the TV in the morning, watching Cabbie on the Street.
Bro, I was eating Eggos at 3 a.m. You were eating it at 8 a.m. I was eating it at 3 a.m.
No, I was 8 years old when Cabbie on the Street was on.
Oh,
That's what I was saying. I was 8 eating Eggos
Yeah.
right before school. Mom's like, "We're gonna be late," and I'm like, "1 second." Cabbie's talking to whoever it was in the dressing room at the time, and then it was out the door.
yeah.
Are there breakfast foods that you eat at night?
Oh yeah, I can eat a whole box of toaster strudels on any given day.
Yeah.
Whole box.
Toaster
Yeah.
strudels are a dessert to me.
Yeah,
though.
but
That's not a
my toaster holds 4 of them, so I got to make 4. It's rude if I don't have one
That's
in
right.
each toaster slot. I just
And do you switch it up? Do you put different flavors in each slot?
see the flavors aren't as good as they used to be. There's
Oh.
the blue icing. You don't remember the blue icing?
I've never had the blue
There was
icing.
a blue icing. Now it's like
I don't venture very much in foods. I like what I like.
That's
So
true.
it's always the strawberry with the whatever regular
Yeah.
white sugar icing.
What about cereal? Can you guys crush?
Oh, yeah, I
big
can crush
bowls of
cereal.
at like 1:30 in the morning, watching
Yeah.
highlights or
100%.
uh,
What's your
Okay.
go-to cereal?
Captain Crunch, and
Captain
Captain Crunch, Golden Grams. Those are my top 2.
You know
I
what?
haven't murdered a box in a while, but it's a delicious treat. It's a treat for me now to eat a bowl of sugary treats at anywhere after 1 a.m. Not all the way sober and burning through something that's on Netflix.
Yeah. You know what, though? I haven't heard anybody talk about Captain Crunch in a while. I say we petition to have it Cabbie Crunch.
No. The captain's an icon, bro. Tony the Tiger, the Leprechaun and Lucky Charms.
Yeah.
The rabbit for tricks.
Yeah, the rabbit for
Toucan
tricks,
Sam.
Count Chocula. There are like 5 or 6 iconic breakfast cereal mascots, or I guess an avatar, not called the avatar, spokespeople,
Yeah.
and we can't change them. We can't. Captain Crunch would have to retire for me to then step into the role and Captain Crunch, and then the cereal would just be, instead of 1 kernel, there'd be 4 or 5, almost like caramel corn, chunks,
Ooh.
clusters. That's what it would be. But
I like
and
that.
just destroy the roof of your mouth, because remember,
Oh.
Captain Crunch always tears up the roof of your mouth like it's friggin' like rabbits going through
But that's okay. There's certain
It's worth
foods
it.
they just same thing. You get a fresh pizza out of the oven. I know it's gonna rip through a couple layers of skin with the melting cheese,
Yeah.
but I can't control myself.
No,
I have no self restraint.
You
I have
always
permanent
want
scarring.
Yeah.
A
you always
third-degree
want the
burn.
pizza, when you get it from whatever place, you always want them to leave it in a little bit longer to make it nice and hot. But then first bite, you regret it. You'd be like, oh man, I should have just had them leave it in for 20 seconds. So it's just a little bit warm, so it doesn't just incinerate the top of your mouth or your tongue.
You know what? Still
Which
worth
makes
it
me
every
think,
time for
right?
me.
Every time.
I don't care.
And I mean, cereal wise, I think corn pops is
Oh.
an underrated cereal.
So wonderful.
So
I was gonna
underrated.
say the corn pops, Rice Krispies, in the original Special K before they tried to get all fancy with the fruit and shit in it.
Wait,
Yeah.
Rice Krispies, but you would add sugar to it, right?
No.
No.
I would. I
You
did.
think you get a body like this adding sugar to cereals?
Okay, so did you add into maple syrup, a whole?
No, nothing.
Bro,
nothing.
what?
I'm just big boned.
Just straight Rice Krispies, dude.
Just straight Rice
That's
Krispies.
wild. I did the sugar.
I crushed 4 bowls, but just
No, but
straight.
there's no sugar in Rice Krispies.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan. I don't like sweets.
That's crazy.
Wow, that is
We've
insane.
been friends this
That's
long, I
the
didn't know
strangest
that.
thing I've heard this week.
Wow. Okay. Well, as long as it wasn't this month or this year,
This year.
I can handle strangest thing this week. There's a lot. We still have quite a bit of time where there's going to be some strange things you'll probably hear in the next hour.
Let's go.
So I guess we like to go in chronological order. So we'll start with, I guess, Cabbie on the streets. The only other person I can think of that has ever had a similar interview style to yourself was when Jerry D was interviewing people, and it was kind of like that informal, like, yeah, you're part of the media, but like you're interviewing as a friend almost. Like you get that vibe where like everybody's cool with Jerry D, everybody's cool with Cabbie. Like they're gonna say shit that they probably wouldn't if it was, what's that guy that Tortorella hates in New York?
Brooksy.
Brooksy.
Yeah.
Like,
Larry Brooks, I think is his name.
Yeah, they're talking to you as if they're talking to a friend. And that was the first I can remember of journalism like that. So where did you get like that style? Like, where did you draw that inspiration?
Originally, it was just an idea to get out of the office. And I was a scriptwriter at the Score, and I'm just loud and obnoxious, swearing all the time and just being a goofball. And Lisa Bowes and Steve Coolius were like, yo, you should try a man on the street segment. I'm like, And at the time I was trying to be an actor. I was like, I get like a role in a Tim Hortons commercial maybe once a year, and that would pay like 4 or 5 months of my rent. I was a Ryerson kid. My roommate, Randall Thorne, is known as RT Thorne now. We lived in a 1-bedroom apartment at Young and Girard across the street from Ryerson, and rent was like $1,000 in 2000 or whatever it was.
Damn.
So a Tim Hortons commercial would pay my share of the rent for 5 or 6 months. I felt like I was rich. So I'd get one of those once a year, and I was trying to do get one line in small television shows that shot in Toronto, which were supposed to double as New York or Chicago, So it started as a man on the street segment. And the only comp that I saw on TV was BET had a segment called Hits from the Street. And it was a guy named Al Shearer. And Hits was primarily in New York, and he would interview random people on the street. I suppose Letterman and Jay Leno, Jay had a segment called Jaywalking. And I think Letterman would send out correspondence. Remember, like the guys owned like a variety store around the corner from his studio?
Yeah.
He would send those guys. But like, I don't know if that informed me in the back of my mind, but Hits from the Street was more informative. So he would go to around the streets of New York, and he would accost random people. He would make fun of them though. So that was the humor for the audience. And he would like have little side comments or whatever. And then he would go to like historically Black colleges and universities, interviewing people his own age, and then just find like really colorful characters. So I did a similar thing in Toronto, but I always wanted to make fun of myself because I thought it was more endearing. I was like from the Conan O'Brien school of thought, where self-deprecation, I think, is just, it's more endearing for the audience.
100%.
And also, I just didn't like have the chops to like, hey, ask somebody for their time for 2 or 3 minutes and then insult them the whole time.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm not an asshole, and I don't want to do that. So it started with just finding random people at various college campuses or busy intersections around Toronto, or areas in Toronto where I would ask them stupid sports questions, stats, mascots, would you want the Olympics in Toronto? Just silly things. And I had like a clipboard. And then eventually I got to interview athletes in 2002. And then Jerry joined the Score in like 2007 or 2008. And our characters were different. Like my character, I wanted to be everybody's friend. Like I wanted to be Kobe's friend so bad. And Kobe's like, you can't be my friend. I'm like, nice. Like, I'm from Canada. You are nice. You are from Canada, but we can't be friends. And Jerry's character was like, I'm better than you at your sport. And he would always, remind, whether it was like guys that played in the OHL or actual NHL players, he'd be like, well, he'd have like a stat sheet and be like, you're like a -3 today. You have 1 shot on goal. You have 6 penalty minutes. And you're at a -3. Like I could have done that in my sleep or whatever the bit was. And he was he was funny in that way because who had the balls to say that to professional athletes?
Yeah.
But Gary D, sports reporter, did, and he was always complaining about like the angle, like the camera, like, hey, can you move the camera over here? Or he would like tell the player, like, hey, you're in the shot too much. And then me, I'm like hugging people.
Yeah.
Eric Jeter, I'm trying to do like handshakes. What else? What stupidness did I used to do? I always used to bury my face into dude's chest just to like break the physical, barrier between reporter and athlete, a barrier that never gets broken. Like you're not allowed to, it's not an unwritten rule. You can't touch athletes, shake their hands, yes, maybe a dap if you know them a little, have a little bit of familiarity, but I was going in for full hugs. I hugged Michael Jordan for like 6 or 7 long seconds, bro. I felt the man's heart on my face. This was in August. I am fat. I was sweating. Also, I'm in the presence of like a god, like a god. So like his energy mixed with my nervousness, mixed with just my body heat, just pressed up against this dude. He was trying to peel me off with his elbow. Like, bro, I don't know you. Why are you just gripping me like this? I'm like, yo, this is a one-time only. Like I only be in the presence of greatness a few times in my life. So what else was some of the dumb stuff? Like I used to play street hockey against random people. Like I would try to find people wearing dress shoes and we would play to one. Wait till the cars, like cars, or in between street cars for like that 30-second gap. And we would do the tap at the beginning. 1, 2, 3, boom, orange ball, a couple of hockey sticks. And my man D, my producer, would be the goalie. He would sometimes, like 50% of the times he would let me in. He's like, he'd always have like an open 5-hole. So I could use like a backhand and 5-hole. But it just, those were the shenanigans that I was doing because it wasn't done in sports. I didn't see anybody out there in that lane in sports at the time I was coming up. There weren't very many reporters that looked like me. Like I remember Ahmad Rashad when I was a kid hosting NBA Inside Stuff, and Ahmad Rashad was really good friends with Michael Jordan. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like he has so much access to Michael Jordan. But I didn't see any of that in Canada. Other than, David Amber was he was a host on TSN, and then he went to ESPN. And before David Amber, like I saw Hal Johnson on TV, and Hal Johnson was doing Body Break with Joanne McLeod, maybe?
Oh my God, Body Break.
Wow.
Man, that's a blast from the past.
Yeah.
Icons. They're icons. But like I didn't have a lot of, like I didn't have a lot of people,
there wasn't a lot of representation.
Yeah, and I didn't even know that being on TV was possible when I was in high school, because I just saw like Will Smith and Denzel Washington on like in the movies or on television. But I'm like, I don't even know how you can even get a job in TV. So once I figured out, like it was really at Ryerson, they're like, yeah, you can go intern at a station and then learn the ropes that way. I'm like, oh yeah, you can do that? I had no idea. But yeah, so after things got cooking a bit in like 2002, I went to Sportsnet and I hosted a basketball show called NBA XL, and I hosted a baseball show. I was contributing to a baseball show called J-Zone. Now, these were 30-minute magazine shows where I was like in the field reporter. And that's where I really started to like interview athletes. And the shows, I don't know how many people saw those. More often than not, people will reference the stuff I did at the Score, and specifically like 2005 to 2010. Like those are the prime Kobe years, and that's what most people remember about my time on the Score. Not the early stuff that I did from I started in 01 and then I left in 02, but that 05 that's when I got to drink out of the Stanley Cup. No business doing, like, did not earn that privilege, but I took advantage of it. I was in there with goggles and a yellow poncho when the Detroit Red Wings won in 2008. There's a moment where Chris Chelios is like, "Are you a real reporter?" I'm like, "No, sir," but I want to know. Like I just continued on, and like Chelios was just like, he's like, "You are so weird." And now he's on ESPN with Subban, and we have, I mean, PK. I don't know if he'll go to the Hall of Fame, but PK is he's a star in hockey, and obviously has credentials to be on the set of ESPN talking hockey. But we have similar energy. It's big, we're loud, brash at times or whatnot. But yeah, Chelly, there are a lot of guys who's the president of the New York Rangers, for Chris Drury,
Yeah.
did not like it at all. One time I was covering the 2009 playoffs. I believe the Rangers were playing the Capitals. Go to the Capitals dressing room. I have a laptop. I'm asking Ovi. I'm like, Ovi, let's start a blog. He's like, what is blog? I'm like, well, it's just like a diary. We can. So I'm like, do you want to do the first entry? He's like, cool. So he's like, oh my gosh, coq de la, which means how you doing? I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, coq de la. And then that's it. I was like, okay, that's a great entry. And on that 09 team, I became friends with Brooks Like.
Yeah.
But then I would go to the other dressing room. Chris Drury's like, are you here to ask stupid questions again? I'm like, yes, I am. Yes. Just audible sigh. I'm like, ooh, this doesn't feel good. So I'd ask like one or two and then just like keep it moving. I go find Mark Stahl, who was like 21, 22. I'm like, Mark is more, he will joke around with the bit. And I had this running bit with all the Stahl brothers. I'd said I was the fifth Stahl brother. And at the beginning of
I remember that.
I would give each one $20. I said, hey, Mom, before we start, Mom told me to give you $20 for lunch. So I gave like $80. So every Jordan, I ended up giving like 120 and Eric probably 140 or 160. Eric never gave the money back. Mark always gave the money back. And then Jordan was like 50% of the time. I was just trying to carve out my lane, and I was empowered by like the stuff that Tim, Sid were trying at the Score on the Score Tonight in like 2002, 2003, 2004. And our boss at the time was like, he didn't say we are the underdogs, but we knew we were the small upstart network. So we could try a bunch of stuff. And they just encouraged us to be our full creative selves. So when Tim is speaking patois, Sid is cracking jokes in between highlights. Sometimes stuff that we definitely couldn't say in 2023, but in 2003, we could get away with a few things. Yeah. McAuliffe had a nickname for everybody. Sid had a few nicknames. Tim and Sid invented the Dion Phaneuf, like this song, which I eventually brought to Dion Phaneuf. I'm like, are you aware of this song? He's like, yes, I've seen it. And then I got him to sing. Anyway, I'm rambling on, but the Score was a great time creatively because the network allowed us to take big swings. I had total creative freedom to go accost the Derek Jeters of the world. Obviously, Kobe, Steve Nash. I was accosting. I asked Wayne Gretzky for his number once. He's like, "What? You want my number?" I'm like, "Yes, I do." I've asked Gretzky and Kobe for their numbers. Gretzky said his number was 480-999999. Not even a seventh digit for the bit. He's like 493.99. And then Kobe was like, 1-800 never ever call me ever. Next time I saw him, 1-800 never ever 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 call me ever. He would just elongate more nevers and evers in there, and that's how I was able to create moments that I hope that the audience enjoyed when they were watching it on the loop, or when maybe they're watching our videos on thescore.ca. Unfortunately, our segments were ahead of the curve, like ahead of YouTube. We were told actually in like 2005, we couldn't put our videos on YouTube most of my Score stuff, people only remember from seeing, but they can't go look up unless somebody recorded the Score on, their computer and then uploaded it there are some of those videos and they just upload it to YouTube. But if we were allowed in 2005 to post everything that we did, these short form videos, then
you guys would have blew up.
Maybe my career is different, or maybe there are more people doing streeters and doing like these short form content pieces because.
But you brought up a great point. Like the Score was ahead of the game, and if you guys had the social media that there is now, like the Score was built for this social media, but it was just ahead of the game because that's what you live for now. Like, and I feel like everybody, like all the athletes give these such serious answers all the time. And you need, like you said, your kind of character, Jerry D's character, Tim and Sid's character, like you need that to kind of make these athletes less robotic and more human. So, I thank you because, other than that, it's the same how'd you feel about tonight? You know,
Yeah.
you lost 5-0. Yeah, tough game. We'll give it all we got. A team effort, whatever. You know, or you win. How do you feel?
Yeah.
Pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
So
what are you gonna do different next time?
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna score more goals.
Yeah,
next
just
time.
lost the Stanley Cup. Are you upset? Well, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
But no, we needed guys like you, and you know, for every sense of the word. Again, don't want to age the score, but you guys were pioneering what is now popular and what is mainstream and what people are wanting.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you saying that.
Now that I have somebody from the score, I've had a few guys from TSN. So you started with on the score, obviously. Do you remember the show Stump the Schwab?
Of course, yeah.
See?
That would like the Schwab.
I
was
don't
an
remember.
icon.
He thought I was making it up, and I remember watching that show religiously, and that dude never lost.
Rarely, yeah. There was, and I think it was discovered by Chris Berman, just as it was Howie something, and he was just like a brainiac, like stats nerd that was at like in the archives department or something at ESPN. We had a version of the Schwab at the score. His name is Steve Felon, and he is just, and he runs the stats department at Sportsnet. He's just like a savant. I'll ask him. I contribute on Hockey Night in Canada on Saturdays, doing like a short betting preview. And then I have a couple of like first intermission in the early games, first intermission spot in the late games. But I'll send a note like, give me the top 10 scorers in the first period. Like, who are they? And then which teams have scored the most in the first period? What are the records of how many times have the Vancouver Canucks blown 2-goal leads? And then the email will come back in like 3-4 minutes. I'm like, how do you even find this, bro? Like, how strong is your Google search game? It must be. Or are you just relying on your brain and you just go to Google for confirmation? But anyway, Steve Felon was just a savant when it came to stats.
Yeah. Well, last week the guy we had on.
Yeah, we had Liam McGuire on. Not sure if you're familiar with him, but he is another savant. Adam called him the Rain Man of hockey. But just crazy. Like, we would just in the middle of the interview just throw out who won the Stanley Cup here, and he would go on for like,
3-4 minutes
about who scored, the time of the period they scored. Fun fact about that guy, and like we're throwing like 1904, 1917, like just random years, and he's just spitting out facts.
Yeah, like I mean, I have some useless facts in my brain, but not that far. Like, I mean, but gotta give it to those guys. They keep it going, I guess, right? So
yeah.
Does Liam have a girlfriend?
I know his mom lives with him.
All right.
Yeah.
So maybe not, or maybe he does. Who knows?
I'm not sure. I know he has a couple kids. So eventually there was a Mrs. McGuire. I'm not sure if that's still a thing. I'll get back to you on that one.
Great.
So you went from the score, you made the switch. We'll skip a couple of years. You went to TSN, you did Cabbie Presents.
Yes.
So, I mean, you go from the score, like you were saying, that was, super, do something creative, take these big swings. And I know talking with Jay a few weeks ago, it sounded like him and Dan had that leash for a little bit. And then that kind of got reined in once they started with their layoffs of, this is what we're doing now. You're inside this box, work within this box. Would you say when you went to TSN, it was a similar situation where your swings couldn't be as big, or you were kind of stifled a little bit more in your creativity?
No, it just, the tone was different because it was TSN. And obviously with every passing year, society's
wokeness.
No, that's not the right word, but like the I guess political correctness plays a little part, but like the sensibilities change. We mature as a culture. So like at the score in interviews, I would bring up talking about girls, like what's the best road city to meet new friends or meet girls, like that really couldn't play on TSN. So, which was great for my development because I relied on that too much at the score. So it was like a crutch. So I needed to like evolve. And So I tried writing sketches, and they weren't great. None of them really were very funny. I just tried to push myself artistically, with some success. Some things weren't great. I was lucky to develop like a pretty good relationship with a few players, like Mike Richards, who gave me a ton of, and Jared Stoll gave me a ton of access in their lives. Whereas we did a segment at Jared Stoll's house in between game 1 and game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals. LA was playing this was, I think, in 2014. So they're playing.
Out of the Rangers.
Rangers were 12, but I think this was in 2014.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Like eight guys were at his house for this interview. I'm like, this access is insane. Right now in my life, it is difficult for me to get an interview with the Toronto Maple Leafs, with Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews. Yeah. And like and this is regular season. The stakes are the highest during the finals. Yeah. And I was at this dude's house with 7 of his teammates sitting in his backyard. Like, it's crazy how some clubs are so protective of their stars, and other clubs are like, if I would just circumvent the PR staffs, I just go right to the players. Like, yo, you want to knock some out in like next week? And I'm like, yeah, cool. Because they're generally cool. Yeah. And it's the gatekeepers who aren't. So in the evolution of Cabbie Presents, I did get to go to movie junkets a lot more, which was cool to like meet stars. Junkets are very hard because you only get 4 minutes with a person, and in 4 minutes you try to develop some kind of bond. It's very difficult, but it was fun. Like when I had moments that paid off. For example, I went to the Horrible Bosses 2 junket that was with Jason Sudeikis. Charlie, who always
I forget his last name, but I know exactly what you're talking about. He's in New Girl.
Yeah, Charlie.
No, he's not New Girl.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
But yes, Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He had his scruffy beard.
Sudeikis, and then
I'm gonna look it up.
And then oh my gosh, and Jason Bateman.
Yeah, Bateman. That's right. Yes.
And then so also I got to interview Jennifer Aniston. And at the end, I don't know even how we got to like the topic of hugging, but at the end of the interview, I hugged her for like 5 seconds, and then at the end got a little extra squeeze, and I was like, wow, this is me. Because the lanes that I carved out for myself were sports and pop culture. Like, always wanted to bring entertainment into the conversation, sneakers, food, movies, all that. I wanted to make athletes as relatable as possible. And when I got to like interview these stars, so I got to hug Jennifer Aniston because I always want to be friends with people, and I want to be a proxy for the audience because I'm just kind of like this chubby everyman. And then I can, hopefully my experiences, the audiences enjoy because like I have access to these people. And then one of my favorite ones was The Hangover 3. So it's Zach Galifianakis, Ed Helms, Bradley Cooper. And I snuck in an electronic keyboard. I got in so much trouble.
How did you sneak in an electric keyboard?
They call you and like, all right, Cabbie Richards from TSN's next. And then you walk in. So I walked in with this keyboard, and because it's like an assembly line, the actors sit in a room and 40 reporters come in every 5 minutes, like another person every 5 minutes. They just keep this thing rolling because it's like an assembly line. So I was just the next person in. So you sit down and the clock starts. So I just kind of put it off to the side. I brought them wigs, like these mullets, because I'm like, you guys have like Canadian sensibilities in your humor. And then I brought out and I was so nervous because I hadn't tested the Casio friggin' keyboard. Then Ed Helms, I said, Ed, at the end of Hangover 1, Hangover 2, you improvise a song. I was hoping you could improvise a song in this interview. He's like, yeah, sure. So I pull it out of the box, boom, put it on his lap, turn up the volume, and then he sings a song. And man, I got in so much trouble for that. But like after I left, the publicist was like, what was that? You didn't clear with us? You didn't like, fine. Like, if this is the last junket that I do, that's fine. Like, I got this great moment with these guys. Yeah. I'm sure they weren't pissed off. The audience will enjoy it. Like, just relax. So What was my point about that? God, I can't remember my original point of why I went on that tangent. But just getting different experiences at TSN, hosting the ESPY's red carpet, which was cool because we had a position on the carpet, and we would bring, my man D and I would always like brainstorm, like, what can we bring to the carpet to make it fun for people? So one year we bought freezies. We had to like send freezies to our hotel in LA because freezies are Canadians. They don't have freezies in the United States.
That's true. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And once a year we brought ice cream. We had like a little ice cream machine, like soft serve ice cream we rented. We had like little fans. So we had a bunch of nonsense, but we always want to like bring fun and relatability to the interviews and just do stuff that would make our content memorable. And hopefully we succeeded more than we failed.
Well, 100% you succeeded. You and like I said, the people I mentioned earlier with Jerry D and Tim and Sid, just those guys, like you guys made it feel like I could do that when I grow up. Like I had an opportunity. It wasn't, like you said, of that breaking that wall of, media, average Joe, athlete. Like it was, you made it feel like, again, you're talking to a friend. Like you're like, I'm sitting here talking with Adam is how you made me feel when I watched you talk to an athlete, and we're all like, oh, wow. And it's like, Cabbie's buddies with these guys. Like these guys are human beings.
Yeah. That's a big thing that a lot of people forget, right? Like these guys are humans, man. Like you said, like you went into that movie for The Hangover, like, did a crazy thing. The publicist was mad, but I bet you when you left, the guys were probably like, you know what? That was fucking funny. Now my day's made because it wasn't the same 4 questions. Is there going to be another one? Was this one better than the other 2? Like you always had, like, even like you said, like, the Kobe stuff, like, you always asked for his number, but he low-key always laughed. He always had a laughing face. Like it always made him laugh. And like, again, you always went out and like, you made the interviews fun for those guys because they get the same questions all the time. Like, it's
one of my like interview hacks, and I think it started with Kobe, was bringing props, because it was always like fun to be doing something. And I think the first prop I brought was either pillows and CDs, because I wanted to have a sleepover at his house. He's like, you don't think I have pillows at my house? I'm like, well, yeah, but I don't want to impose. But I'm asking to stay at his house. But I'm saying I don't want to impose, so I brought my own pillows. And this is how long ago it was, because I said CDs, not like I brought my Spotify account. Like, so yeah, props definitely helped to like either elevate the relatability or elevate the humor in the interview. Sometimes I brought a vinyl record of a group called In Excess in an interview with Hugh Jackman, who's from Australia. And in Hugh Jackman's youth, In Excess was like a really big rock group. And the lead singer unfortunately passed. I think they only made 1 record or maybe 2 records. And one was called Kick, and it was like their big album. And then when I gave it to Hugh Jackman, he's like, oh, I was listening to this in the gym. And then we started singing or humming like one of the main songs. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. This is exactly what I wanted, for him to have nostalgia wash over him and then just give us a moment where the audience wasn't anticipating. Yeah. And I found that to be a successful tool in my interviews. It's like, and this is one of the harder things is like coming up with like unique props for a specific athlete. And it was hard, man. It caused me a lot of stress. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with Brad Marchand? Or like, what am I going to do with Jose Bautista? What am I going to do with, and just have that question repeating in my brain 400 times before I land on something or land on like a starting point. And then it becomes like, oh, then I follow like a thread and like, oh, okay, here. Well, we land here with Batista on like, I don't know, chicken sandwiches, or I got him once to eat a hot dog outside of the Sky Dome for this stupid bit that I was doing about the CN Tower. And I got him to walk around the Skydome about 90 minutes before the game. And people were looking at, and he was in full uniform. But people were looking like, that can't be Jose Bautista. Like, why is he outside of the stadium? The game's at 7:05. It's 5:30 right now. Like this, it can't be him. Like anyway, I've been lucky with some of my silly gags, and thankfully the times where I've caught people in good moods, they've been excited or enthusiastic or playful in allowing me to be goofy. Now, sometimes it falls flat. I'll try to think of a good example. Oh my gosh, what was the last one that really just bombed?
I mean, it's good that you have to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I suppose, yeah. I know I've had some bombs, but like specifically with props, where someone's like, I'm not doing this, man. Shoot. It'll come to me. It'll come to me.
By the way, that actor you were thinking of, it's Charlie Day.
Charlie Day, yes. Yeah. I asked him about being the big three. I'm like, you guys, like, this is your second movie. You guys are great together, great chemistry. The big three, like in Boston. So like Garnett, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen. And Sudeikis is like, well, I'm Paul Pierce because I went to Kansas. Ray Allen went to Kansas. Or Paul Pierce, sorry, Sudeikis, Paul Pierce. And then Jason Bateman, who's not a basketball fan, is like, well, I guess I'm Ray Allen because I don't remember what he said. And then Charlie Day, who's the shortest, like, well, I'm Garnett. Like Garnett's like 7 feet tall and I'm 5'4". I'm Garnett. Anyway, it was a fun moment.
Yeah. I love that.
So I guess your newest venture will, like I said, continuing chronological is the betting.
Yes.
Which I love. Big fan of FanDuel, and I know you're not necessarily FanDuel, but that was the one. I've only ever done one betting, and one of my buddies from work is like, "Hey, here's a free $100. You sign up." So I clicked on that, played till 100, got me nowhere, and then backed out. But it was fun while it lasted.
All right, yeah, that's how it goes.
But you have a bet with Kevin Hart,
bro. I haven't been able to, like, he's been ducking me ever since he lost the bet. So we bet on the Super Bowl. He took the Philadelphia Eagles versus the field. Silly bet. Obviously, the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl. It was a great game, super exciting. So I said, yeah, well, the bet was I'm going to send him 7 pounds of manure. Now, I'm in Alberta right now, so I can go get, like, premium cow or horse manure, just drive to a farm. I'm sure I can find it. But I don't know if I can. Then, like, do I have to, like, vacuum seal it, send it to his production office in LA? Like, will they, like, test it, like, over customs? Like, am I going to get law enforcement show up at my door?
Yeah.
The FBI shows up at your house.
Yeah. So
I think you should have just took the push-ups.
Yeah.
Well, no, it was for me.
Oh, sorry, you're the push-ups.
Yeah.
But what was he had to say? Toronto was the superior sports market to Philadelphia.
So I got this jersey made for him.
Oh, yes.
So it's 20. I put 20 on it because Alvin Williams, a former Raptor from Philadelphia, played on the Raptors for, what he played, 6-7 years. And then I got Hart put on the back. But I haven't, so I need to send this to him. I actually would like to give it to him, but I'm not sure when we're going to cross paths or the next time I'm in Los Angeles. Actually, I guess I could be there for the playoffs because the Kings might get the 1 seed. Kings are Golden Knights. But anyway, I need to figure out how to get this to him. And then I want to record the video of him, basically admitting that Toronto is a superior sports town. I want him to renounce his Philadelphia allegiance and then proclaim that Toronto is the city, the team. Toronto is the city that he will ride for moving forward while wearing that jersey. So it hasn't happened yet, obviously, because you just saw the jersey.
Yeah.
If people are listening to this, then I held up the jersey, the personalized jersey that I made for Kevin Hart, Raptors number 20, and I got like a kid. The size I got was I think I got kids medium.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's definitely a youth jersey.
Yeah, it's a youth jersey.
That's
Have you ever seen Kevin Hart in real life?
Actually, we have tickets to go see him. Is it in Montreal or Ottawa? Yeah, around my birthday. We got tickets to one of the two. Yeah.
It'll be a great show. He
coming
puts
up,
on
I think, in June.
a great show. So, but he's a small man. Like if you stand next to him, be like, wow, this is a fully grown human. Human is like 5'4". I know I mentioned 5'4" a couple times in this pod, but he's small. There's a photo of like Shaquille O'Neal wrapping him up in his jacket.
Yeah, that's the best.
And then actually there was another photo of him and Joel Embiid standing on the sidelines, I think during the Super Bowl. And you're like, well, those two dudes are part of the same species. Like they're both huge. And one is 7'2" and the other one is 5'4". It's just I was awestruck by the video. I'm like, wow, it looks like you can, like one more Kevin Hart can stand on Kevin Hart's shoulders and be about eye level with Joel Embiid.
Well, Cabbie, I want to challenge you.
What do you mean? Okay,
if you've seen my basement, I have about, I don't know, $5,000 worth of Habs memorabilia. I'm a diehard Montreal fan. Are you still on the Toronto grounds? You said you're in Alberta right now.
Yeah.
Is your allegiance still with the Leafs?
You know what? It's never been with the Leafs because in the early 2000s, I was always disappointed in the management who would acquire stars past their prime.
Fair enough.
From like Owen Nolan, Alex McGillney, Eric Lindros. I got these guys in their mid-30s as free agents. I'm like, this is how you're going to improve the team. This is how you're going to overcome Philadelphia. Or I think Philadelphia was the nemesis in the early 2000s when the Leafs actually won playoff rounds. They beat up on Ottawa. I don't know who they play in the second round, but yeah, Philly a couple times. So I have friends who play on various teams, so I root for my friends. But I'm interested in because I work at Rogers and I work at Sportsnet. There is some because of the way our business is structured around the success of the Toronto Maple Leafs. For this bet, sure, I will rock with the Leafs. And I really love Mitchie, Mo, and Matthews.
Really, well, I'm going to give you the advantage then. I will take Cole Caulfield against any one of those Leafs players you pick.
But I love Cole Caulfield. I love that dude. I don't even know that dude, but he's electric. Go ahead.
I will take Cole Caulfield against any one of the Leafs that you pick, any one of your boys, with Caulfield scoring more goals than them next year. You can take anyone. You can take 60-goal Matthews if you want.
I'm not going to take Matthews because that seems unfair.
No. I welcome anything you want to do. You pick. I'm giving you the advantage, Cabbie, because you're nice enough to indulge my bet.
What are the stakes? Before I say
well,
it doesn't involve cow manure, we promise.
Yeah, no, I'm not interested in the manure
because I can get some. My dad's a farmer.
His dad is a farmer. If you're looking for cheap cow manure,
I'll get to you for free, Cabbie.
Yeah, free 99 is my favorite price.
Yeah, dynamite.
It is.
My dad's got lots of it.
How often are you in Toronto?
Once a month.
Once a month. So,
how often are you in Toronto?
I can work my schedule around you.
Okay.
If Caulfield has more goals than Austin Matthews, or is Matthews who you're picking? Whoever you pick.
Mm-hmm.
I will go up to Toronto. I will go get a Leafs tattoo.
What? No, bro. No. I wouldn't do that to you, man.
No, I'm that confident in Cole Caulfield. Listen, and this is on air, and this will go on to our TikTok. Oh Cabbie, what I would want in return, if I win, Adam and I go up, and I'll even buy the tickets. We want to go to a Jays game with you.
No, you listen. It will be my treat if I lose the bet. I'm not going to be like, yeah, meet me at the Jays game. Like, I know,
but the treat for us is to meet Cabbie Richards.
I mean, and get to watch a Jays game with you, man. Come
Yeah,
on,
I mean,
are you kidding me?
we like to go to Jays games anyways. Just meeting Cabbie Richards is the icing on the cake for us. But I'm 100% serious. I will get a Leafs tattoo. I will go to Toronto and get a Leafs tattoo. You can pick it. I don't care if it's a St. Pat's. I can get Austin Matthews' name. I don't care. You pick what Leafs tattoo I get.
I didn't know this before this.
Yeah, Adam did not know. I said I was going to see if Cabbie would do a bet, but
wow.
God, I wouldn't, man. It's so.
I would not offer if I was not confident and okay with it.
What is it? It's his shoulder, right? That's why was it a shoulder injury that sidelined him for the rest of the year?
Yeah.
Shoulder, and then you guys are trying to get Connor Bedard. Now that's interesting. So now I got to think about this, because if you guys get Connor Bedard,
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Columbus is too good at what they're doing right now.
Yeah,
Columbus,
we're falling on Adam Fantilli right now. That's where we're kind of hoping for.
Who's wonderful. Like,
there's anybody in the top 4 I'm okay with.
Yeah,
but like I said, you pick whoever you want.
Hold on, wait. Well, Bedard, I mean, has a rookie ever played on the top line? Like, will he play between Suzuki, like on the other? Oh no, Bedard is a center, right?
He is. So, I mean, I think Suzuki, Caulfield play together. Whether it's Bedard, Fantilli, I mean, Carlson's a winger, but let's say we ended up with either of those two centers.
You can't get Bedard. Oh, sorry. I was going to say you can't get Bedard and Fantilli, but
no. I'm saying either or, both of them are centers. I don't think Caulfield plays with them. He has too much chemistry with Suzuki. I think he might end up with a Anderson if he survives free agency and trade deadline and that kind of thing. But
okay, so we have to revisit this in like a year from now as we're approaching the end of
September. I just wanted to get the framework working if this is something you'd be interested in.
Oh, I'm in for this. Yeah.
Okay. I love this.
Yeah. I'm not even a part of this, and it's great because if he loses, I get to watch him get a Leafs tattoo and laugh at him the rest of our lives. And if you lose, I get to meet you while watching a Jays game. I mean,
to me, it's a win-win though, because I mean, I don't like the Leafs, but how many people can say, you know what? I got this tattoo, losing a bet to, like I said earlier.
Hold on, but you could get a Leafs tattoo and then just the next day add the word "sucks" underneath it.
I would not. Gentleman's honor, Scout's honor. I only did
that's
1
not
year.
Scouts. Scouts is 3 fingers, not 2 fingers. Bro, you're not even a scout. You're not even doing it right. You held
You're
up
right. It was Cubs for
3
all.
fingers.
Full on Scouts. Thanks for calling my fucking bluff.
Yeah, you're a bold-faced liar on your own. Call your shit.
Scouts. I wasn't old enough for Scouts yet. It was Cubs. So Cubs.
Yeah.
I will leave it however you want it. I don't care. Like I said, I lose the bet. I can say I lost the bet to Cabbie.
Yeah.
Cabbie picked this tattoo.
Okay, so
whatever.
I'm going to go with Mitchie. Mitchie is the guy who I'm going to...
so you're not even waiting. Now we're saying Mitchie.
Mitchie versus Caulfield, because, and I don't know if... I think Mitchie... Like I'm thinking, okay, 30 goals, like Caulfield for sure. Caulfield was on track to score 40 this year. So if he is the similar trajectory next year, could Mitchie score 40? Ooh, depends, blah, blah, blah. I mean, he's a playmaker first. He's got that Connor sensibility, always looking for teammates. But this year he's been, dancing through the zone, holding on a little bit longer, toe drag here, the wrister there. So maybe that continues next year. Who knows?
So why didn't you go with Austin?
As it would just be unfair. I want it to at least be competitive.
Yeah,
like Austin,
I think it is competitive.
Bro, the guy's...
What's Austin at right now?
Listen, a healthy season of Austin Matthews is a 6-goal scorer. We saw it. He won the Hart Trophy last year. A season where he's battling injuries, various injuries. He's got somewhere between 64 and 68 points, something like that. And I don't even know if he's over 30 goals yet.
Right now, he's at 32.
Okay, I stand corrected. So at the time of this recording, he's at 32 goals.
Yeah.
Playing the Islanders tonight, so he may have scored while we're recording this.
He does not have any goals. He has 3 shots.
Okay.
He's pulling up his fantasy.
Let's stick with Mitchie. Mitchie versus Goal Caulfield.
I think that's a good one, though. Because, again, Caulfield, Caulfield's good. just it's
So Caulfield has 26, and he's only played about half the year.
Yeah,
Up to you. Like I said, balls in your court. I'm that confident in goal Caulfield.
I used to bet on goal Caulfield at home games on Saturday night. Like that was the battery in his back. Bell Center, he would. I mean, I don't know what the stats are, but
well, you have a die for that.
I remember winning more than I lost betting on goal Caulfield at home on Saturdays, and then sometimes on random Thursdays too. Like he was just awesome.
He's a beauty.
I want to say of the 26 goals, he maybe scored 18 to 20 on home ice. So even though I'm in a bet with you, I will still apply that same strategy next year until he proves me wrong. And if it's like, he's scoring mostly on the road, then I'll have to reverse course. But I know that he's going to be awesome. And I love his swag. I love his energy. I do watch the Montreal Canadiens team channel on YouTube. And unfortunately, some of the guys don't have like great personalities, but every team is trying to get into this short form, or not trying to. They do it, and the stuff they do on social is awesome. And that's the kind of content that
you paved the way for that.
Yeah. Well, I was one of the
give yourself some credit.
Yeah.
You one of the early way.
No, did not pave the way. Did not pave.
There's guys that the guys they're big Habs fans, Habs fan TV.
Yeah, they're good,
and they sit outside the Bell Center, and sometimes they wait for the players to come out, and sometimes like Guillaume Latendresse is there with Max Lapierre, and like they're absolutely hilarious. There's one of the guys, he's only like 16 or 17, and they've been following the Habs, like they followed them all the way out to the West Coast. And they would wear the opposite team's jersey to get on the Jumbotron. And then Mike Pezzetta started to notice it. So then the kid would go interview him. He's like, I'm not going to take an interview with you. And like Pezzetta's got a big smile on his face laughing. But like stuff like that, that's I love that. That makes me laugh.
That's very cool. I need to tap in with that and watch some of those videos.
And you can practice your French at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, because it's only in French.
Well, they do both, but
it's mostly French or people that speak French that are trying to speak English.
Okay, sorry, I thought it was the opposite. People speak English trying to speak French.
Yeah, no, it's mostly French. Terribly. Yeah, but no, you would pick up a few. And you know what? The bonus is, regardless, we'll come up to Toronto. We can give you a crash course.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's revisit this bet in like a year from now, because we might know what the result is. Like if someone's got like a 10-goal lead with 10 games left, that person winning, because only McJesus can score, or like Ovi at a certain point of his career can rip off 8 to 10 goals in like 8 to 10 games. So
yeah.
Well, that is perfect. I mean,
I'm excited.
I'm excited. I mean, either way, I'm okay with the outcome.
All right.
I'm just glad to say, just a notch on my amateur broadcasting career belt. Got a bet done with Cabbie Richards.
Yeah, there you go. Love it. I love it.
You know what? We are going to, I guess, wrap it up here. It's already been an hour. I don't want to take any more of your time. I thank you so much. It has been an absolute pleasure. And I mean, I guess this means we'll have you back on the show, and we'll discuss around this time next year how our bet went.
Yeah,
let's go. I look forward to it, fellas. And
so do I. The offer still stands. If you want to get manure from his dad,
yeah, it still stands. There's lots of it. Yeah.
All right, I'll let you know. I think Alberta has some pretty manure-rich soil out here, but if I do need some from Ontario when I'm out there, I'll hit you up.
All right,
sounds good. Thank you very much. Fellas. Have a good one.
Yeah, thanks, Cabbie. Appreciate it.
Before you head out,
enjoy some toaster strudels tonight.
I will. Yeah. I will. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Both guys, 5 minutes each for fighting.
I mean, I know last time, whenever we had Paul on, he was talking about kind of these staged brawls at times where you guys would discuss in the dressing room before one happens, like, okay, we're going to start something and warm up here. How did you feel about your role in that kind of stuff, Pat? Like, did you embrace that? Did you know I'm here to fight? And
I knew I wasn't a talented guy. I was more of a team player. I knew what my role was, and the only way I can stay on a team is by doing what I do. So I knew that it was going to happen and whatnot. It did happen. Stage brawl. We had a meeting once, only players, and we each had a guy that in the warm up we were going to fuck up. And it did happen. It really did happen. That wasn't for the Comets. That was for Saint Jean. But it did happen. We beat the fuck out of them.
I like it. I wish that hockey came back. I mean, we've had other senior leagues in town since, and I don't know. It's not the same. But you know what? Hockey isn't the same anymore.
We went to this, was it 10-year anniversary, I think, in Cornwall, and it was the Nationals. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
North America.
Yeah.
I'll always remember it. The captain, whatever his name was, we had brought the cup, and we do the face-off thing, and he grabs the puck and he looks at all of us. It was Rabbi, myself, Paul. We were about 7 or 8, and he looks at us and says, "You guys ready to fucking dress? Because these fuckers are chicken shits." And he drops the puck on the ice. I fucking laughed my head off. But right then and now, I knew that Cornwall needs to have a tough team. That's what it is.
I mean, the only team I think that would compare would be the Warriors, Corey, when you guys were playing in the FHL. But that's only because you had yourself, Paul, David Plouffe, Durast, Rabbi. They took enough of the Comets guys and made that team.
Yeah, but then after they win, the Federal League started to put in all kinds of rules and basically put the handcuffs on the Warriors, because they knew if we weren't going to beat you on the scoreboard, the next game you came back, you were going to be beaten, bruised. You weren't going to be able to. So the Federal League put in more rules, and that's what's happened to hockey. They don't want to see that. They don't want to. I don't know. It's not. It doesn't get policed by the players anymore. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, I mean, when you could name a handful of guys from back in the day that you knew once they stepped out on the ice, nothing was gonna, you weren't messing with those guys, And for me, that comes to mind, your Larocques, your Scott Stevens, Daneko. There's a handful of guys that you didn't mess with, and I feel like that was the kind of the rep that Cornwall had, was you're not going to come into our barn and take advantage of any of us or push us around.
No, and you know what? Pat can attest to this, but the one thing about the Cornwall Comets, we weren't a home team. There were teams probably in the North American League more because there were more teams, but if we went to Saguenay, if we went to Jonquière, if we went to Saint Jean, people were getting their money's worth.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck yeah.
It didn't matter if we were at home. It didn't matter if we were on the road. They were getting their money's worth. We were going to put on a show wherever we went.
Fuck, I missed that. Oh my God.
Because there were teams that, hey, don't go into Cornwall and think you're going to push them around. So it was no showtime. Let's play hockey. Let's just play hockey tonight. Well, you come into Cornwall, you had no choice.
No, fuck no. No, not at all.